Greetings, Baba Moon. Thank you for being here. So, can you tell us more? We were talking earlier today. Can you tell us more about new vision, identity, and creative power in the next universe?
Nice topic. So, new vision, identity, and creative power in the next universe. So, um, yeah, I would start off by, in the order that you gave it to me, right? So, in the concept of new vision, right? Um, a lot of people come here on Instagram or on Facebook or or on YouTube, which Next Universe. Welcome to Next Universe again. Um, and there's a thing where many are finding enlightening, empowering, informing, doing research. YouTube University, as they say, um, but not always primed from a state of freshness. So I would begin to say, consider yourself refreshed, right? Take a deep breath, shake a load off. Consider yourself refreshed. And with that refreshed state, uh, address vision and all the things that you have looked forward to in your younger self and your past self that has led you to now. But also consider redundancies. What are the redundancies in your life? What are the things that you've been wishing for, hoping for, dreaming for, um, acting like? And what are some of the contexts that may be outdated, right? And before you get too saturated on all those things, be aware of those things. Before you get too saturated with those, just shake a load off. Refresh, like a fresh breath, right? Like walking into a well filtered, air conditioned space on a very hot day where things felt clogged up and muggy, right? Like if you live in a city, like a downtown LA or Chicago, or a place where there's cars and pollution, and you walk into a place with fresh air, right? That fresh breath. Think about your new vision in the same context, right? What is your fresh, refreshed vision, right? And so as you perceive that new vision, right, what does your refreshed living quarters look like? What does your refreshed day look like, right? From the beginning, when you wake up, what does your refreshed day look like? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What are you hearing? Who are you laying side by side with? You know what I mean? All that's relevant, right? Because you want to keep it refreshed, right? Even if you're married, it doesn't have to be anybody new. It could be a refreshed version of your mate, partner, wife, right? Consider every aspect of that vision being refreshed, right? If you're a business person that owns stores, what does your store look like refreshed? What do your employees look like refreshed, right? What does the refreshed clientele look like, right? What is your if you're online all the time, what does your refreshed online experience look like, right? New vision, new vision, new vision, new vision. Where have you not been that you would like to go? What of your dreams and your quote old vision has not been achieved yet, that even though you've tapped on it a couple of times, it would still be fresh, right? Sometimes new ain't brand new. Sometimes new is just new, right? Like I've been looking at this Maserati for a while, right? It ain't necessarily new, but it is part of my new vision, because things that I envision, I can still envision where I'm traveling, how I'm traveling, what I'm listening to. You see, when I roll up listening to Let the Funk Flow by EPMD up in that thing, you know what I'm saying? And I got that thing, like how you dress in your new vision, right? There's a new vision wardrobe, right? How do you sound? How do you sound in a new vision? How are you talking? Right? What's your vernacular like? Are you talking a lot? Are you barely talking at all? Right? These are aspects. To some people, it's like, yo, I was at the dinner talking to everybody and making everybody laugh. They just started a story. Another cat's new vision is I was in the cut. I was chilling. I was sharp. People saw me, and I was a cool Idris Elba type cat. Head nodding cats from the corner and say just a little something here, a little something. Whatever. Be real about your new vision, right? In your new vision, are you a dancer? Do you dance in your new vision? How's your body How's your body structured in your new vision, right? Are you strong, right? Let's consider identity. Identity. What is the identity that comes along with this new vision, right? Would there be a new name, right? Would you have would your identity be different, right? When I became Amun, that came along with vision and identity. How not necessarily like can I see your identity, but that could be a thing too. You can change your name. There's nothing wrong with that. You can change your name. You can get your name officially changed if you want to. Or you can just decide to tell people, hey, I go by my middle name now. Or since I was rapping when I was a kid, I went by the name such and such. That's what I would like you to be addressing me as. This is your dream coming true. This is your new vision. This is your new identity. Identity is very important. New vision and identity come hand in hand. It's really important to also be clear on false identity. Are you or have you been functioning in a false identity for any amount of time already? Have you been too subject to the position that you've been put in by others? For whatever reason, you've been put in that position. Sometimes it's with your parents. Sometimes it's with your spouse. Sometimes with the people at your job. Sometimes it's just with social status, right? Like if you feel like people around you got more money than you, and you say, don't identify with that. Identify with the new vision. Dr. Michael Beckwith talks often about living in the vibration, not locking your identity into what it appears to be manifest, because what's manifest is already the past. What you see outside of you is already the past. It is on you to tap in and honor your soul, spirit, mind matrix to crystallize the now power of your new vision identity. You see? Now, creative power. Oh, big deal. Because now when you're getting into creative power, you're getting into actuality. Not wishing, not hoping, not living up to the standards of other people. You're getting into actuality, creative power. The Amun Mirage, the Amun Scorpius Ray, AXR, Amun Rehuta, the character that I live as, the identity that I am refreshing and functioning in. Oh man. The creative power of it that's where all the real jazz is. When you wake up in the day and you decide to speak the 99 names of Allah in Arabic, or you decide to read the Mayan calendar from a I, you, we affirmation, confirmation state, or you function with the I am, I feel function. I am happy, I feel happy. I am joyful, I feel joyful. I am grateful, I feel grateful. I feel graceful. These creative powers, these activation movements, very, very important. So we're going to get further into that. But for now, I'm just going to speak to you to say, function in your creative power and actualize your identity for the crystallization of your refreshed identity, your refreshed creative power, and indeed the crystallization of your new vision. Welcome to the next universe.